everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports, where, as you might have guessed it, we go over everything that's happened this week in Philadelphia sports. Again, we are this close to 21,000 subscribers, and we will be doing a big giveaway when we get there, so make sure you're part of the fun. Talking of fun, I mean, what a week it was for the Eagles. There were injuries, and then Jason Peters demanding. It was a vibe. Biggest news actually came on Monday, and that's where we're going to start with this, because the Jaguars decided to actually release former first-round pick Leonard Fournette. Yes, the man that was picked before Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and I would say Mitchell Trubisky, but that's probably a compliment, was released today as the front office seek to get younger, rid the slate clean of players that were maybe toxic to their environment, and start again. Now, I hinted earlier in the offseason that after Brian Baldinger's bizarre cryptic tweets, which funnily enough turned out to be nothing, that it might actually be Leonard Fournette that the Eagles were interested in. Again, they didn't replace Jordan Howard. They had maybe experimented with some budget free agents like Carlos Hyde, Devonta Freeman, LaShawn McCoy, offering them all peanuts, and they all understandably said no. But to acquire a player like Fournette, someone that ranked 7th in rushing yards last year, the price for a running back that finished 7th in the NFL rushing standings last year, having averaged 1,215 scrimmage yards in every season he's played, and having 8 100-yard games since entering the NFL, was gonna be fairly high. At least so it seemed. Then it turns out it's not what it seemed, and the Jags released him anyway. Now on paper, and I mean on paper, Leonard Fournette is the perfect fit. But as most things are on paper, never really works out that way. On the field, Leonard Fournette is a dream fit for the Eagles. He is part of a dying breed of running back. An absolute bowling ball who thrives between the tackles, will knock people down, a ferocious rusher, and that's the type of back the Eagles needed to replace. I mean, they've had one every year since the Doug Peterson era, although Ryan Matthews was a little bit fragile to be a bowling ball, sort of like, you know, a vase, you know, like a china vase, just launching that and letting it smash everywhere. But LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, Jordan Howard, the Eagles have had their fair share. So I get why the team would be interested, but on the other side of it, let's not forget that he somehow got fined for sitting on a bench into a boxing match with Shaq Lawson, and has had his maturity and work ethic called into question on several occasions. That would be enough to deter anyone, unless you really like toxic relationships. Sorry, what? I didn't, Now look, the Eagles have often been seen as a second chance city. You look back to players such as Michael Vick, and you can understand why the team would maybe want to take a flyer on Fournette. Now I understand with all of those concerns why you wouldn't want to trade assets and pay him what he was going to be earning in that final year of his rookie contract. The truth is now, though, he's a free agent. He's on the waiver wire. The Eagles can claim him and sign him to a minimum, which is what they wanted. They wanted to pay a running back absolutely peanuts. And if you can imagine Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Fournette, and maybe Corey Clement or Elijah Holyfield, it's a good vibe. As long as he doesn't start punching anyone. That's not a vibe. Now, do I think the Eagles should go after Fournette? I think it depends on where they stand on both Corey Clement and Elijah Holyfield. They've got to be confident in what they've got. You can't really expect Fournette to come in 2 weeks before the start of the season, get up to speed by week 1, and then hit the ground running. I think it's far more understandable for the Eagles to lean on the backs they've already got, which they've clearly shown an intent to already do. Now, is he worth a waiver pick? Potentially. I understand it. I get it. If they pass on him, I'll be just sort of like, oh well, you know, worse has happened. And if they sign him, I'll be like, oh well, worse has happened. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. To recap the rest of the news though, Jason Peters is being greedy and he's putting himself before the team, wanting a new contract to play football, which, as far as I'm aware, is what he signed the contract to do. So, don't really get that. Like, he signed as the right guard, and he's now going to get to start, which he wouldn't have done, probably. I think Matt Pryor would have started at right guard, personally, by week 1. He's getting to start at left tackle due to the injury of Andre Dillard, and he's now demanding more money. Now, there is a chance that Vikings tackle Riley Reef will be on the free agent market very soon, should the Eagles opt to bring him in. I think he ranked 26th out of 60 tackles last year in PFF rankings. You could do worse. I mean, you could just give that money to Jason Peters, but Reef is more durable and probably won't give up a false start every 5 minutes. So, The guy was released earlier this offseason, has walked back into the Eagles organization and is instantly demanding more money. Like, behave yourself, get a grip, put the team first. It's great that he's helping the younger guys. It's fantastic he's mentoring Jordan Mailata. It's fantastic he's mentoring Jack Driscoll. You know, guys that clearly have no shot at taking a starting role from him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so backhanded. Like, I don't get it. I really don't think the Eagles should pay it. At the end of the day, no player should be bigger than the team. I understand Jason Peters is a Hall of Fame talent, someone that transcends the tackle position, someone that earns a Pro Bowl at every corner of his career. But I don't think that gives him the right to sign a contract and then want to change the circumstance of, like, you knew what you were signing the second you put pen to paper. If you thought there was a chance you should play left tackle or could play left tackle, you know, as someone that maybe has played there for the last 10 years, maybe you should have worked that into the contract. If you've missed any of our Training Camps Diary series, do make sure you check it out because it is a vibe. To summarise very quickly, John Hightower is brilliant and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. Jordan Mailata keeps getting absolutely bullied by Joe Ostman and Josh Sweat. Jalen Reagor will miss up to 4 weeks, but it's okay because John Hightower exists, and Carson Wentz has a minor quibble. He's out of practice at the minute, but he's day to day. Everything's alright. Every other player that I can think of is pretty much injured though. Wouldn't surprise me. On to the Flyers, and a minor quibble. They're 3-1 down to the Islanders, making the next one a must win, which is good. Isn't it? Eh? That's good. I don't actually know what's going on anymore with the Fly. I really don't actually have a clue. Like, they seem to be playing with all the effort, but it's like they're trying so hard and not really getting anywhere. Sort of like the time I tried to chat up a girl who was French by saying, "Je m'appelle le jardin." I tried really hard. I thought it sounded good. Turns out I said I'm called the garden. Flyers basically have to win their next game or they are out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I'd like to think Carter Hart back in there. They should have a realistic chance of doing so. But breaking down Barry Trotz's very structured team is no easy task. It doesn't matter what the Flyers seem to do. Nothing is working. The top line can't do anything outside of Jake Voracek. And it's all just a little bit nervy down there at the moment. As for the Phillies, they traded for David Phelps, and no, that is not the swimmer. That's Mikey Phelps, isn't it? Eh? He's swimming around. But I guess you could say this is a news of current affairs. The Phillies are now swimming in pitching help. I'm sure that Phelps will bring a very unique stroke to the... I've got to stop this. I've got to stop this. He actually tops the league in exit velocity, which is what I call leaving relationships. He's limiting hitters to just 80 miles an hour on contact and sits in the top 10% in strikeout percentage. Thank you, Alec Costaval. Since 2016, he's posted a 2.85 ERA with an 11K/9. Now, I don't know what that means. I think baseball to me is like the Matrix. I don't understand what the big numbers mean. Basically, he's pretty good. But he worked with Joe Girardi beforehand between 2012 and 2014, so that's good. And the Phillies are sending 3 low-level prospects in exchange for the former Brewers pitcher. So I'm all for it. We've got Workman on board. We've got Phelps swimming around. Like, I mean, sooner or later, I guess you could say the Phillies will be flying like butterflies, you know? What? Moving on. As for the Sixers, don't know, really. There's nothing to really talk about. So instead, I'm going to show you this half-drunk bottle of Sauvignon Blanc wine because it's probably more interesting and a lot less harmful to your mind. While the Philadelphia Union scored 3 goals in 14 minutes. And Aronson, my little wonder kid, ended up putting the Union 4-1 up with a goal in the 61st minute against DC United. You love to see it. Union unbeaten at home since the resumption of MLS, which is now back. And again, not MLS is back, just MLS being back. They're currently 3rd in the standings as well, which is pretty impressive. So up the Union, they're doing bits, and hopefully this is going to kickstart a very exciting regular season, which could see them really challenge for some silverware. But that is it for another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked it, as always, make sure you turn that grey button blue, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you soon.